Okay, we're recording now. All right, with the infamous Wayne Jerrolds here, the man that set the bar for the fiddle and bluegrass music in all of this area, the one we always looked up to. I have the good pleasure of sitting with him, talking to him. We want to hear your story. And the first question is, when did you first get interested in this old-time bluegrass music?
Well, I was very small. My uncle, he played the fiddle some, him and two or three more people there in the community. And, you know, when they play music, it just touched my heart. And naturally, I wanted to know more about it. And I know when I was about 8-year-old or 9-year-old, my daddy says, them Thomas band's coming out to play at his Uncle Grover's down there. Said, you want to go? I said, what's that? It's a musical out here. Then I went, and when they played, I said, Lord, I want to do that. I said, that's the most beautiful thing I ever heard. And
so you started with the fiddle? Was that the first instrument?
Well,
because I
didn't have a fiddle. I tried to get a fiddle, and I'd sell garden seed, and I never could get up enough to get me a fiddle. So I started finally started in high school. I wanted to get in the band and play.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get an instrument. I'd go in there and sit all them town dudes blowing, and I'd sit there and didn't have an instrument. And I quit. I just quit. And my mama, she found a fiddle for $15 and bought it for me. Then I got interested in playing bluegrass. I love music, all kinds of music, but of course I know more about bluegrass and old-time country I love western swing, so I can't really say I
and you do you do a great job with that.
But
western swing
that
stuff.
was a long time ago. But I was 16 when my mother bought me a fiddle, and then on I was
16. Now I've heard you play the piano too. So how did that come about?
Well, I started to take piano lessons in school, and I took a few, but I'd memorize it and play it all by ear. And my granddaddy got to kind of making fun of me, like his sissy, you know, and I quit. Then I got a little grown, and Waldo Davis was a great musician. You ever hear Waldo?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he had a program here on Jackson for a long time. They followed Les Clayton and Earl Scruggs, Jackson. He was from Adamsville, and he was tuning piano some. He was a good fiddle player and all of that. So when I was about 17, I just went with him tuning pianos, and we'd tune one or two, and then we'd go to Fred Plunk's, and he'd get him half a case of beer, and we'd go down on the river and sit there, and I'd watch him drink that and play and tell me all about it. I couldn't drink because it messed me up. My nerves weren't ready. But I swear I got my education.
That's where you got your education.
Watching and another.
I heard you mention that at the award ceremony the other night.
Well, that's right. Hardin Walls was one of the best musicians in Savannah, but unless he was drinking, he didn't care about playing. And my mother, I'd bring her to work, shoe factory, and I'd go in the pool room. She'd give me $1 to buy my dinner with. Hardin, I'd say, Hardin, I got my guitar and fiddle in the car. Let's go and play. So, hell, that old music, I ain't fooling. Directly, I'd take my $1 to buy my dinner and go get him half pint from the taxi driver. And there we'd go down in the bottom. He'd get another old drunk to go with him, and boy, for about an hour or 2 hours, I got the best lessons in the world, you know, from him, and that's really the way I got it.
Did he show you?
No,
I mean,
he didn't show me.
You just watched him. You just
him.
watched what he did.
Stealing what all I could.
So you just learned it totally by ear.
Just by ear.
He didn't break it down for you or nothing. He didn't
break it down. When I was in Memphis and learning to tune pianos, I went to taking a few violin lessons from Speedy McNett. He was
I've heard that name.
For a while, and I got to enjoying that, but I didn't stay there too long. Went back to Savannah, and nobody could read music, and I couldn't read it, but very little, and so I just got back by ear and found a lot of bands to play with that way.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this next question I had. What instruments did you play? I know you play the piano and the fiddle, and I'm sure you play. Did you ever play the banjo or any of the other stuff?
I played the banjo for 3 years at Memphis Shakey's Pizza Parlor. I played ragtime band.
Really?
4-string.
Now, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I played it. I guess I made more money with the banjo than any other instrument.
Was it like
tenor banjo?
Tenor banjo, okay. Tenor banjo.
We played it. They had 5 pizza parlors there, Shakey's, and we'd go from one to the other, and I played there about 3 years, and they opened up, let's see, this pizza place over here. What was the name of it? Out Bob Kilburn opened it up.
Village Inn. There was a
Village
Village Inn.
Inn.
Yeah.
I helped them open that up, see.
Really?
I was playing Memphis, and Bob come to me and says, now, if I give you the same money, I was making more money than country bands made playing tenor banjo. He said, if I pay you the same amount, will you come to Jackson? We're going to open that up.
Yeah.
And
oh, man,
it's closer than Savannah. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
So I sold him a piano, an old ragtime piano, and started playing there the first night. And I guess I played for 2 years, probably.
That was the hangout for.
I played tenor banjo there with Miss Peggy Stepp played the piano. Then there's another boy that sat in sometime, but she worked at the bank. Miss Peggy Stepp, she sure did.
They had the best. That was the best pizza in town.
I spent my time playing ragtime music.
Well, I would know. I see. I didn't know that. Do you remember any of the tunes that you first learned when you first started learning?
Yeah, Sweet By and By, and When the Roll's Called Up Yonder.
So a lot of gospel.
Yeah,
stuff.
There's no man in the community.
On the fiddle?
Yeah, no man in the community could play that on the fiddle. And he sat down and showed. Well, I don't know what he showed me. I just watched him, and he played the G waltz. That was a pretty old waltz tune, and that's been about 65 years ago, nearly. And that old waltz tune is still beautiful now.
Yeah.
It's a G waltz, he called it.
Do you remember any of it?
Yeah, I could play it.
Gonna play a little of it?
Let's see.
In
G,
play a
then
line
we go to D
two,
and A, just regular old G.
Play around
there.
there. Oh, by the way, we got Mr. Tom over here on the guitar. His left-hand man.
I'm not anybody famous.
You will. One of these days, you're gonna be. You keep hanging around him, you're gonna be famous one of these days. That's great.
It's a simple tune, but it can be pretty.
And that's just called the G waltz.
G waltz. David and me, we learned one of the first ones, and we played on twins. Man, it is pretty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love that twin fiddle. Well, I think you answered this. You said you've been playing for about 65 years.
Well, let's see. Well, 60. About 63. Yeah,
63. That's easy for me to remember because that's about how old I am. I know when I was about, I think about 12 or 13, I started going to something, like, I know you used to come like over to Sardis Festival. They used to have a good one over there. And of course over at Holiday and all those old festivals. And Eastview.
Pratt put on one there.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. He had
17 years he put that on.
Yeah.
I won 13 out of 17. Got second the other time. So
now that was going to be one of my questions right there. Yeah. I know you've been in won countless number of contests, fiddle contests all over the country. You have any idea how many contest you've won?
No, I guess it'd be 75 to 100 probably.
75 to 100.
Back. The last one I won, Tom and me went down to what part of
Fayette, Alabama.
Fayette, Alabama, about 3 weeks ago, and we got first in it.
Really?
Good prizes, 500, and we got 500 on the band. So we really.
Do you? That's something curious to me. I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you find that the contests are fading away?
Yes, I do. Clarksville's faded away, and there's another. New Albany faded away. I won it 10 times down at New Albany. That was their Mississippi State championship, and now it's out. And
you have any idea why?
Well,
because
so
there's
many
still a lot
different
of
types of music. See, used to it had to be acoustic. People didn't have electricity, and they didn't have electric, and the fiddle and the banjo was the loudest instruments, so they were the lead instruments.
Right.
And as time come on, you can get to all the sound devices and crazy sounds or good sounds or whatever, and fiddle just had to take back.
Yeah, back seat.
You know, it just wasn't loud enough to compete, and it's too hard to play too. Most people done got old and got other things he's got to do. Time he's learning to play the fiddle.
Now you mentioned the fiddle and the banjo being really, and I've heard Lester Flatt say that on one of his records that, you know, one reached grabbed the fiddle, another the banjo, and that was a band. That was the total band. Do you remember? Do you have any recollection of playing? I know you played a lot of square dances and stuff. Do you remember any from like years ago that playing any dances where that was predominantly the instruments?
Well, nearly all the dances, but they'd have most of them would have a rhythm, because that rhythm really put the bounce
guitar
to it. So, but as far as just a banjo and a fiddle, it'd just be because somebody else didn't show up. It wasn't. It didn't.
But did you play when you played the dances like that a long time ago? Where would they hold them in community centers, or did they have them sometimes people's houses?
Or up every building there in Savannah, American Legion, and I went to a few where they'd take down the beds and get in the back room.
Oh, that's what I was.
Give the fiddler a dram.
Yeah.
And they stop now. Time pay the fiddler. They pass the hat. Him and the guitar picker crank right back up. I went to a few.
So you have experienced that.
I have experienced.
I have read and all about those times.
That's up on Bear Creek, right out of the other side of Burnt Church, about 15 miles. I went to one up there with man Joe Robbins playing the fiddle, and this other fellow playing the guitar, and man, it was something. Them people was serious about dancing too, but they'd stop about every second or third time, said time to pay the fiddler, and everybody chipped in a nickel, dime, a quarter, you know, and that fiddler, and to give the old tune, give the fiddler a dram, you know, give him a dram.
I love that. Really, I love that tune. Yes, I thought you might have maybe experienced one of those.
But I went to a few of them, and
now
I won they dancing and tore the bed down.
So they just dance in one big room there?
Yeah, they'd put all the furniture in the other room and dance in the big room.
Move it all out. Now, that made me think of another thing I wanted to ask you. I've heard a lot of people, this I need to do a whole story on this, I guess, sometime, but I have heard a lot of people, I know Charlie's mentioned it to me, and Grundy and Curtis and all have talk about the old, years ago, how they got started a lot playing in public, playing on the hayloft frolic.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever
No,
play?
I didn't. That was a little before my time. All my old buddies did that I learned from. Waldo Davis, Hardin.
I thought maybe you might have done some of that.
I just didn't get in on that.
Well, what about there was another one.
That was in the 40s.
Farm and Home Hour?
Yeah.
I
believe that was in a daytime radio show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to listen to it all the time.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe you might have.
Hot Shot Elmer and a bunch of them, and Waldo Davis, he had a program on there. And Miss Billy Walker, she was a lady that had a band, and he was her fiddle player. So
probably Cousin Toonie
was. I remember them, but I was about 10 and 12, you know, and just wanting to play, and that was inspiring me, of course.
All right. Well, now, I don't want to keep you all night, but I could easily. But I know you've played all over the world and played with the father of bluegrass. That had to be that was one thing I was curious to get your reaction to. What was it like when he called you and asked you to join
Well,
join him?
It was, you know, it was mixed feelings. Yeah, I thought, well, am I going to mess up? Can I do it? But I wanted to, and I said, well, I'm going to do it if it kills me.
Yeah.
And it just about did. I said, well, and he called me that week. Well, first he told me to his playing in Mississippi, and Buddy Spicer was playing fiddle with him, but he kind of wanted to go back to just what was little Ed's sister name? Gail. Crystal Gale.
Yeah.
He wanted full time with her, so he's going to quit. And Bill asked me would I be interested in playing. I said, yeah. And he said, well, we're going to play down Ripley, Mississippi, 1st of December. Said, well, how about coming down and sitting in?
Yeah.
I went down. We played twin fiddle. And he says, you want to play with me? And I said, well, sure.
Yeah.
He said, well, I'll call you next week. I said, yeah, big deal.
So
I went on to working every day tuning pianos. That was my job. And I'd go home. Of course, we didn't have answering service, and I didn't have a cell phone, so I didn't know whether he'd call me or not. But it was getting about Thursday, and that phone was ringing when I got home. And it was his secretary. She said, where you been? Mr. Monroe's been trying to get a hold of you all week. I said, well, working.
You put him on hold.
And she said, he's on the phone. Where you been, boy? I said, tuning pianos out working. Well, you gonna play with me? I said, when? Tomorrow night. I said, where we gonna play? He said, the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, man.
Lord, I'd like to play in a little school or
something. You started out right at the top.
Yeah, he said, now come on and get in the Union and meet me there at the back of the stage at 6 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
So I did, and my heart just.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, that had to be something else.
I made it all right, and stayed with him till April the next year, and we'd play sometime. One week we played 7 nights, and another week we played 6, and a bunch of them 4 and 5. And I was had a business there in Savannah, and I was making a lot more money at that than I could with Bill Monroe, you know, as a backup musician. Yeah. So then I got Scotty a job a little later. Tom Ewing quit, and I asked Bill, or he asked me about somebody could really sing, you know, play the guitar, and I told him about Scotty, and we'll bring him along. I took him along. We went to up there, Savannah, Georgia, and played a show, and Scotty come out and sang a couple, and Bill kind of liked him. Scotty could sing back then.
Yeah.
Still does a good job. So got him a job, and we stayed on till next year in April, I believe, and they're going to celebrate their 50th anniversary at the Grand Ole Opry, and them 2 boys that had quit, they just there every day. They didn't have nothing they couldn't get nothing else, you know, equivalent to it. Yeah. So they wanted their job back, and I wanted to lose in an honorable way, and Scotty did too. So it worked out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that worked out good then.
Yeah.
But you got to experience the playing with the master
the
there.
Grand Ole Opry, flying to Las Vegas, and all them places, you know.
Oh, heck.
We had a good time, but I made the statement. I moved an old house there at Savannah, big old 2-story. I moved it across town, and that was off the job I ever got into. And I said, well, I've done 2 jobs that I wouldn't do again for $50,000 a piece. And that was play Bill Monroe and travel and move that house. But I wouldn't take $50,000 for the experience, you know. It's just a one-time thing. That's a
once-in-a-lifetime thing there to be able to do something like that.
That's
amazing.
Winning contest, and I guess getting to play in the Buford Putzer movie was about the 3 best things ever.
Now tell me about that. You played on the movie.
Yeah, I played the fiddle in the square dance scene. That was on the Real American Hero.
Yeah.
Brian Danny Hay played as Buford, and Forrest Tucker played as, and so, the way it happened, let's see, what's his name down there at Selmer, Little Jim Milton. He was just a young boy playing banjo.
Yeah.
But his uncle was not a sergeant, but a captain on the highway patrol.
Yeah.
So they were coming in here to make the movie, and when they did, he was escorting them around, and this fella with Bang Crosby Production says, we're going to have a square dance scene like Buford used to go to the square dance scene.
Yeah.
Says, you know where we can get some musician? And he said, well, my nephew is the best thing around, talking about Little Jim, and he was good. So Little Jim auditioned and got it, and his daddy called me. He said, would you play in the movie with us? I thought he was kidding me, and I said, oh yeah, big deal. But I seen it seriously. He said, we need a bass player and that. I said, well, Bobby, my brother, plays bass. And I said, how'd you know to call me? He said, well, I wanted the best, and I heard you was, or something like that. Flattered me up. And I said, yeah, when we meet, and we did, and got here in the, it was Holiday Inn at that time. We come there and recorded it. Then we went out to the, if you're going down 45, turn right and go over there. What kind of club is it? Country Club. That's where we filmed it, but we already had the music recorded at Holiday Inn.
Oh, hey.
I played
That's
about
amazing.
4 or 5 tunes, and they square danced to them.
All right, I don't want to keep you all night, but I do appreciate it. I got one last question then, and I'll let you go. Maybe get one more tune out of you. It would be nice too to finish it off. The thing I always like to ask people is, what is it that makes this music? And when I say this music, I mean the bluegrass, old time music, fiddle music. You know, what do you think makes it, or what makes it special to you?
Well,
different.
Of course, being raised on it makes all music special to people.
Right.
It's just like politics, religion, whatever you're raised on and associate them good times with,
Exactly.
it's going to have a place in your heart. And that's, I guess, I mean, I can love jazz, but I don't associate it much with my raising, you know.
Yeah.
Some of the tunes I do, but this old time fiddling and stuff that my daddy'd bring in the records and we'd listen to, it just touches her heart more.
Oh yeah. That, you know, that's something I now that you mention that, I think about. Seems like the older I get, the more I regress with the kind of music that I play. Of course, I started, you know, playing. I really got interested in bluegrass back in the, I guess, 70s. Was when I first started with it, and the older I got, it seemed like then I always loved the fiddle, but I never could do it. But I love the sound of it. And,
I love the fiddle, and I don't know, once you get started, I played I played piano with bands for years. I played the church for 50 years. I do every Sunday now.
Now have you pretty much all your life made your living from music, haven't you?
Yeah, just pretty much have.
That's quite an achievement in itself, right there.
I put the music store in, and I made pretty good in it. But I get something going, I kind of burn out. Yeah. And I, of course, got to following bluegrass bands around, got playing fields, so I just rented my store out to Maxine, and I still own the store, but they, you know, sell instruments in there. And it's been a pretty good life, but after I quit playing with Bill, I didn't take the store back. I love selling real estate, buying, subdividing. Yeah. I'd buy maybe 100 acres here, there, and then cut it smaller parcels, and that's the easiest money ever made. So naturally, I just cling to that. Because, I could work a day or two a week and make more than I could in music in a month lots of times. And
so now you have a lot of real estate, I guess, down there on the river around Savannah.
Yeah, that's where
I know that's where your park's at.
Is. I've got the big old house up where I moved the house that built in 1875 up on the hill there and overlooking the river, and I got 45 acres around it right there in the city, and then I got a few more places. My daddy left me a place.
Now see, that was my growing up. That was my learning the bluegrass right there when I was first starting to play. That was one of the big events every year, going over there and playing on that park with, I remember, Cowboy and all that bunch over there. That was big time.
And, this Rhodes boy, he was a fine musician. Y'all had a good band back then.
Oh, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
It was meet you Tim contest there at Sardis. But let me touch on a little thing here. You might not know so much about Scotts Hill. That's where I'm from. That's the granddaddy of all the musicians around here.
No.
And you need to know about that.
I sure do, and I never heard
that. John Gilbert was the man come in there, and I don't know, come in the late 1800s, I think, but in the early 1900s, he's raising his family there.
In Scotts Hill?
Yeah, and he taught music all over the place, and he was a piano tuner.
Oh, hey.
And boy, he was good, and his son went on to Memphis, and he was Noel Gilbert, the head of the Memphis Symphony, And every record that Elvis has got, he was the fiddle player, the violinist on it.
Oh no.
Then his grandson was Howard McNett. See, his daughter was Gilbert, and his grandson was and probably if it hadn't been for him, I'm going to venture to say that Eddie Arnold would have never been in the picture.
Oh,
Because here's what it was. See, Eddie was playing with John's grandson. Grandson was learning from the old man, John Gilbert, and Eddie, Speedy got a band, and he let Eddie Arnold play the guitar in it. You know, used to the fiddle player was the leader.
Yeah,
They went on to Memphis, and they went to Arkansas and made all them schools and everything. Come back, and it was Speedy McNett's band.
Oh, hey.
And they went on to Nashville, and Eddie got a recording contract. Then it was Eddie's band, and Speedy played the fiddle with him on the Grand Ole Opry around.
Oh, but that
And then it kind of burned out because fiddle was way in the background. You know,
Yeah.
he wasn't making no money, and he went to Memphis where his uncle had the orchestra, and he went playing the orchestra there at Memphis. And
but
that's
again.
all Scotts Hill.
Scotts Hill.
Every bit of it.
Ain't that something?
Man,
I taught school at Scotts Hill. That's the first
Well,
place I
when I
taught.
was young, Hardin Qualls and them would talk about School of Music at Scotts Hill back in the 20s, and he said, boy,
I'd
that's
never
the best.
heard of that.
Then Jerome Gilbert, that's the old man's son, he went on to Memphis with his brother that was over the Memphis Symphony there at the university.
I wonder if there's
And,
any his family still left around. I know there's some
There's
Gilberts.
some far off, Ken. I run into him at Sardis, but when I mentioned their name. And Jerome, he was a staff musician at WREC in Memphis.
Oh, hey.
And he died at 38-year-old. He got to drinking and blowed his heart up or doping.
Yeah.
And they all buried, you know where Cedar Grove is?
Yeah,
That's
Lord,
where
yeah.
they buried. Man, there's legends there. And Neil Jones, you remember Neil
Yeah,
Jones?
I remember.
He's buried there. So that's where he got his education, from them.
Scotts Hill.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
Yeah,
I
that
need to ask.
Scotts Hill, man, them old timers, they knew what the Scotts Hill music, they were the king.
I bet Curtis would know a little bit
Oh,
about that.
he'd know, surely.
See,
yeah.
he'd never told me anything about that.
Well,
I didn't know
All
that.
right, in 1976, Waldo Davis, you've heard me speak of him.
Yeah.
He moved to Savannah to be around me and play music.
Yeah.
And somehow he heard that the Noel Gilbert and all of the Memphis musicians of Symphony was coming back to Scotts Hill to celebrate the centennial there at the school. And we all loaded up and went over there, and there they had them orchestras. Man, they just make your hair stand up.
Yeah.
Neil, of course, he played the guitar with them. He had all the orchestrated chords. And then Speedy's brother, he played the piano. All of them was grandchildren of John Gilbert, the old man that there at the, it taught music at Scotts Hill back in the teens and 20s.
I'm a dead again.
He's buried there at Cedar Grove.
Ain't that something?
He was something. All them old musicians around Marsh Chapel and the old blind man there I spoke about, Elvis Black.
Yeah.
He learned from them. See, he'd go over there and stay around them and learn them.
Oh, hey.
They'd hit, old man John hit them 64 notes, and boy, they were king bees as far as
I'm gonna have
credit and who knows
I'll be
music.
dead again. That's something. And
I guess the old man
Never heard
read
of that.
music. I'm pretty sure we played here
You
too.
got your work cut out for you now.
I had
you
never
need-
heard.
you
I need to
to
go.
find out
Yeah,
more about that.
I sure do, because I had never heard of that. And like I said, I taught school over there, and I know some people over there that would probably
Yeah.
know something about it. I just
John
I'm just-
Gilbert. John
John
he
Gilbert.
lived right there in town. As you're going through town on the left out there. Those
Yeah.
houses
Oh
down
yeah, I know
there.
where you're talking about. Yeah.
And man, they were musical families, and it just put the grandsons on around, and they were top musicians.
Yeah.
But I said it hadn't been him, Eddie Arnold probably never got in the band with his grandson. 'Cause
Ain't that something?
His grandson was so good; he's the top fiddle player.
Yeah.
Speedy McNett.
I'll be there again. Well, Wayne, I don't want to keep you any longer. I sure appreciate your time,
Well,
and this is really
it's a
special to
pleasure.
me, and I know it will be to others that's gonna take a look at it, and I know they'll really enjoy hearing your story. And would you leave us with an old tune here?
Yeah, I might
just something
bring us
you
up
might-
to date. That other one's old. How about a little "Don't Let Your Deal Go
Yeah,
Down"?
yeah, I like it.
That
One of
does
my
that
favorites.
content. little out of tune, but anyhow.
Thank you so much, Wayne. I sure do appreciate it.